You're listening to the Beauty Beyond Bella podcast, powered by Formula Wellness.
I'm your host, Dr. Yvette Suarez, owner and medical director of Bella Excellence, a diamond-accredited anti-aging med spa in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. On this show, we explore the latest trends in health, beauty, and anti-aging medicine while celebrating the inspiring journeys and achievements of our guests.
I love to welcome Moraima. She is a dancer, a model, an entrepreneur, an amazing Latino girl. So I love having all these amazing entrepreneurs here on the show. I wanted to open up with you something that I still struggle with. I think as entrepreneurs, when we have a company, we cannot say no. Tell me about how you've managed that in your business, and at one point, was that okay?
I think is, first off, thank you so much for the invitation. I am so honored. I absolutely love this opening question because I think that as humans, especially women, we are people pleasers at birth. And saying no, as simple as it seems, is one of the toughest jobs to do. It is so difficult to do it because we don't know how to position the pleasing. Where does the pleasing come in? So I think it's going to be, I'm a recovery people pleaser, if I like to say. It's going to be a never-ending job, but it does get easier. It does get easier. We constantly find new ways. We get better at communicating our priorities in a way that others feel they can understand us. And at the same time, we get to have our way and prioritize the things that we must prioritize. I believe you also ask if I've gotten there. No, I haven't gotten there. We think that is going to be a never-ending journey, but it is definitely easier. I strongly believe that the moment I understood that the things I say yes to, I am saying no to something else. And then I type that up with, why is it that I'm not getting to the goals that I want to get to? Why is it that feels like I don't have enough hours in the day? Why is it that the month and the year feels like it flies by? And it's because my priorities were not in the right place. They were not straight. I was saying yes to all of the things that were either keeping me stagnant or pushing me away, further away every single time, every single yes to the goals I wanted to reach. So obviously I was never going to make it. And I think all of us find ourselves in that position.
We're definitely a work in progress. And I agree. I think as women, look, we say yes to our kids. We say yes to our man. We say yes to our family. We are yes and people pleasers. I still struggle. It was really cute. I got a text from a great patient of mine, and her friend's coming into town. And so I'm coming into my day off to see her. And I always say, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. But I think the difference is, like you said, if it's something that I know when I see her, it tickles my heart to make people happy. And I'm going to have a lot of pleasure to come in my day off and see her. That's okay. But we did talk previously on a podcast that my new rule for this year, my new 80-20 rule of eating good 8% of the time, was really going to be saying yes 80% of the time and no 20% of the time.
I love that.
That's a big deal for me, 20% of the time. I think I might do 2% right now.
You got me. 15 is a 20. I feel it in you.
How am I going to manage that? But I need to take your advice as far as, what does it give to me? If it's making me stagnant, holding me back from something I'd rather do, then that's, I think, the perfect opportunity to say no, not just say no, to say no.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would share, if I can make a recommendation, a book that impacted a lot of that decision and making it easier is a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Benjamin Hardy. He explains a lot of the concept that sometimes we feel but we can't put into words. And again, every time you're about to say yes, and because I don't know if this happens to you, but this happens to me, I get actual joy about making people happy there. I like to say that I am a selfish giver because I give, yes, for them to be happy, but really is for me to be happy as a result of seeing them happy. So it definitely helps. It definitely helps. How are you going to do?
I love that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the joy that we give others and we get that and reciprocated is what makes it so much fun. It doesn't become work when we're joyful.
Right.
I truly believe that. And I think, and that's why people say, don't you care? And I go, you know what? I love seeing that. We talked about this the other day. They said, what, for the end of the year and the new year, what do you love most? Or remember a moment at Bella that you can recall? And I said, honestly, there's too many to recall. The every moment I come in and I get a hug from someone, right? And I get their love and the smile on their face when they leave me. I have patients that sing to me. Like, there's nothing more amazing than having somebody trust everything for you and trust in you, and then you leave them being happy. Like, that is such a rewarding feeling. I want more of those feelings and less of the ones that make it feel like work. And you had a couple examples where, and I want you to share with them because they're really hard, especially in the medical field. You're not in the medical field, so we're going to go over when is it okay? And have you said no to others, and how would that impact your business?
I feel that when I started practicing no's, I wasn't good at it as anything in life. And there were times that I said no to things that I should have said yes to. One important lesson also is I used to read. I would take too long to answer or to say yes to things that I should have said yes to, and I would lose so many opportunities because the train had passed. The train had passed, and it was just so I needed to learn first decision making and getting clarity on what is it that I needed to do, because before the saying yes or the no, I need to align what is it that I truly wanted to achieve in my life. What is it that I truly wanted to do that? And it took so long to get good at that, so I feel that now I'm able to always attach, is this getting me closer to my goals or further away? And I always leave like a space, a percentage of just free yeses, because they're family related or friends, or like you also want.
I like that, free yes. Free, that doesn't count like 80-20 rule. Those are free yeses.
Yeah, those are little pass go and then get out of jail card.
Your mom always did the free yes. Like, you're right.
Look, if I can say no to her. If I use that technique on her, I think I would be disowned by now. But no, definitely, I think you get better with time, and the more you practice clarity on what matters. Sometimes we think something matters and it doesn't. Sometimes we think that something gets us closer to our goals and it doesn't. And we suffer in the personal side when your family time, like your kids time with, your loved ones that you cannot get back. Times that, so we're always, I think there is a storm of like, am I going to regret this? Or am I not going to regret this? But if we practice gaining really good at gaining clarity on what is it that we need. Could I do this later? Could I do it on a different day? Could I reschedule? Like finding the way that it could subsidize like as many aspects as in your life as possible. But I don't think we're going to get like 100% of the time.
Oh, need 100, need 80. Let's say my 20% now. And I agree with you. Look, this is an ever learning process, and I think even today, we're 50, I'm starting to get it. I definitely had better priorities, but I always tell my children that I'm really sorry. I have 2 kids, and Bella was my 3rd baby, and I definitely spent a lot more time on Bella, raising Bella, than I did my own kids. I think that's very common for women that are entrepreneurs and try to juggle being a mom and being an entrepreneur and being a wife, and that's really difficult. But I'm hoping that we did a good job still overall. And now that I am older, I am making better decisions, even though now I'm an empty nester. When they come home, I want to have that personalized time, right? I think that's why they say we become better grandmothers and mothers, because we had learned by then to spend more time than we need to, because that mommy guilt, we need to get that gone. And really love the time that we have here and not put so much pressure on us as women. I think we put too much pressure.
Way too much. And society doesn't help. If by any chance you're from a particular ethnic background, that doesn't help either. And so, again, clarity is really important. If you're able to, your environment dictates how you feel all the time. For me, at least 100% of the time. So I have to make sure that my environment, my schedule, everything is contributing to me making better decisions, to not have, grain fatigue or decision fatigue. And definitely, I totally agree with you. I am not a grandma, so I cannot, but I do feel that my relationship with my grandma was way better than my relationship with my mom, and I could see why. I could definitely see why. So, but you,
They have the time to invest. But I'm not aiming to be a grandma anytime soon, kids. Okay, I definitely could wait. But I definitely will love the opportunity to do better, right? And but always knowing that, look, and I was talking about this earlier, and I believe in the concept that I have to be filled in order to pour it to someone else. Absolutely. And when you're empty, and I think a lot of us, when we start a business, are very empty because we give 200% to get it going. And there's a lot of things that we have to put on the safe side. I always talk about put your head down and grind and get there. I wish there was a better way that we could grind and still have a life.
you know, balance is a season. And one of my mentors taught me that balance is a season. I remember the first time he said that, I was quite confused. I'm like, what do you mean a season? It is a season because you are going to have seasons where you're going to have to put your head down and grind. Unfortunately, it requires when you are a new mom, when you have a business, when things in the less help you have, the harder it is. You know, sure, then when you started, you probably didn't have an incredible, huge, large team. And a lot of the things you have to wear so many hats. A lot of my clients, when they start, they're in that position. But then you get to a season where things kind of relax and now you're able to kind of like serve the waves and do both at the same time. And then another season comes in. The moment you set a goal in place, that season's over. Back to grind. Back to grinding.
It's grinding in a different way. I think for people out there, especially women that are trying to open up their own businesses, it's definitely true. I remember when I opened, I was the doctor, I was the accountant, I was the janitor, I was the secretary, I was the assistant. Like, you play every role, every role. And I was still an ER physician, right? So I was playing every role and had 2 babies at the house. So it really is difficult, but everyone could do it. It is just prioritizing, having goals that are realistic, and then going through those goals, right? It's easy when you already become successful and 20 years in business and people look at it, oh, you had it easy. I think that's such a misconception that people think that life is easy and that your note has to suffer and grind to get there. And there's no such thing as easy.
And I feel that, I don't know if you've had that opportunity to see that in women. I feel that women have it obviously way harder just because the nature of like having kids and taking care of the house and all of that. But that misconception comes even more to the surface if you happen to, you know, physically be good looking, attractive. It's commonly known that, oh, she had it easy, she's pretty, she probably got it from. And it's so lonely to be in that space where if you happen to look a particular way that you are judged, and things becomes a lot harder. There are people that even don't even want to help you because of that. Yeah, some other people with nefarious intentions potentially do, but the brightness is equal, if not harder, I feel.
I think gel women have it rough, but I will agree. I told the story earlier today where when I was in residency and certain things, because it was a male-dominated field, is you did have to not look cute, right? I had to make sure I had no makeup on, that my hair was up in a tight ponytail or a bun. I was wearing oversized scrubs, right? You wanted to not be feminized, right? And now I think when you learn to love yourself and respect that it doesn't matter what other people think and what other men do, then this is who I am, and I can walk out and do whatever I want now and feel empowered and be okay to be feminine, be okay to wear cute clothes. But you're right. Like, I think as women, we try to tone that down so that when we come into a meeting room that we're taken serious. That's hectic.
Yeah. So sad.
But hopefully that's changing.
Right. It is. I feel like it is changing. I feel that as I study the marketplace and psychologically how people are making decisions is becoming a lot more accepted, that we all have an equal place at the table, and there's no judgment. And I'm not here just because I had a pretty face. I worked my bottoms just appear by girls. Yeah. And I could see that definitely did.
Yeah, we all have to, right? I think, and look, I'm not against beauty. It's funny, I grew up as a tomboy, and I never thought I would be in a position of an aesthetic educator, right? And that's become now my forte. I love to train on aesthetics and wellness. But I feel like it's okay now. I still love a very natural look. I love people to look their very best. It doesn't have to be overdone. I think people in this industry feel like they come in and they're going to look different or fake. And hopefully after 20 years, I'm checking myself that it doesn't look like that, right? That we are just evolving. And we talked about how cute that, that you want to look good for your age. We feel good. We want to look good. There needs to be a package, and you're beautiful inside and out. And we don't want to be judged, right? But we want to empower other women to feel the same and to know that's okay.
Right. It is 100% okay. And I think that unfortunately there are some people that have gone a little bit more overboard or trusted professionals that were not acting on their best behavior. And I can understand how the public may feel like, oh, that's not for me. It's still a little bit taboo, but I feel that the ones who are pioneering on this natural way of enhancing yourself, preserving yourself, you are doing such an amazing job that people can't tell, correct, that there has been help. And that's why they came and see it. But I think the more we advertise it, the more we can just be open about this. People would be like, oh, okay, I have to look like a complete different person. Like when we go, I'm sure if anybody tells you, like, you have something? Really? I thought this was you. Right? And they can see themselves in that possibility that they too can look just how they used to look.
Listen, I have an 8-year-old lady, and I think she's so adorable. And her husband has no idea she does this. And she gets fillers and Botox, so she looks amazing. And her husband always says to her, honey, you look so much better than all your friends. And it's so great that you don't need any work done. I always say her, like, she didn't even tell him. She was, no, he just thought I was naturally getting better. I said, well, how is it that you have no wrinkles at 80? And she goes, I don't know. He just thinks I use good cream.
Listen, whatever it takes, if she thinks that works better in a relationship.
Women still hide it. It's always interesting to me that women will come in and go, here's one credit card, and here's some cash, and here's this. And I want us to get to a point where it's okay to spend money on ourselves. Men spend money on themselves.
They do.
All the time.
And it's a little bit erroneous, I feel, to think that as we age, and, the natural process of life is, oxidation, deterioration, that we shouldn't invest in maintaining, taking care of ourselves as best as we can, not only internally, but also externally, because it does affect psychologically, both men and women, which a lot of men are now coming a little bit more into the space and accepting that this is something to do. It's never wrong to do it for a house, a car, an object. But God forbid we did it for ourselves. So I think that it has to be normalized even further. And I think it should be even prioritized. And hopefully insurances would even color it.
The Formula Wellness 4 cornerstones are nutrition, functional wellness, aesthetics, and brain health. These serve as a guide rail for individuals that are pursuing longevity inside and out. Formula Wellness is setting the new benchmark in preventative healthcare and aesthetics. Thank you for all of your support. To learn more, please visit www.formulawellness.com.
I would love that. I mean, we all have to have maintenance. Instead of throwing a drug at someone, helping them, have bioidentical hormones, making sure their vitamins intact, knowing that even vitamin D alone improves mortality, sleep improves mortality. And these are things that we as physicians don't even talk about with our patients. And it's unfortunate because when we were trained in med school, this was not a concept. It's barely a concept now.
Oh, wow.
We just throw medications at people. And I had to go back and do a fellowship in anti-aging metabolic medicine to really understand the new concept in a new way. And I can only hope that my colleagues continue to build that. I think we constantly have to push the envelope, but constantly help us grow more safely, healthier. As we get older, we rely heavily on the professionals for that information to be out and for that education. And I'm so happy that you're doing that and that you're
becoming a pioneer in educating the rest of us, because without that, then I don't think we're going to be able to look the needle. But
We're going to keep working on it.
yes.
So you're a pioneer in the branding and marketing space. I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that, because I think most business people do not have a clue on the difference between branding and marketing. I've only learned that 7 years ago. So tell me a little bit about your company. How's it differ?
Right. My company is called Impactful Brand Media, and I have a hefty background in graphics and marketing and anything related to production, and all of that is technically what I went to school for, because I was, as you said, a retired dancer, and my mom did not approve of that. And she's like, you need a degree. And I'm like, okay, I went and got a degree of that. Then when I had the diploma, I'm like, you see, okay, bad this. So many years later, it serves so much more, because now we live in a world where having a brand is everything. And it's still a work in progress. As you said, a lot of people don't know the difference between marketing and branding. Marketing is the actual activities that either generate leads or actually bring in people to allow you to be found. Is you need money, and it's a short-term activity. Creating a brand is creating a reputation. Brand is synonym to reputation. What do people say about you when you're not in the bro? What do people think of you when they hear your name, when they experience, whether it is from afar or in person, what your services are and what your company is and what you bring to the table in the marketplace? And the biggest misconception is that we feel that if we are not interacting with a person, that they don't build a reputation for us. And in this digital world, people can try before they buy unlimitedly. Imagine like going to the Costco and getting that sample multiple times and never being embarrassed, because usually you're not going to go more than 3 times. But another lady's going to be like, okay, 3 times is enough. People can hide behind a keyboard and experience your business 100%. And the entrepreneurs that understands that and takes advantage of that opportunity that we now have, thanks to the digital world and the internet and video marketing and just socially and everything in general, you step into 10x yourself in allowing yourself to create your own notoriety. Back in the day, you had to wait to be called one of the Inc. 500 companies. You had to wait to be asked or invited in the Today Show. Today, you can get the same notoriety and the same reputation if you build your brand and you make it a priority, such as, yourself. You building this podcast, and all of this is allowing your name to be out there and allowing people to experience what Bella or anything related to your name feels like. And so that creates a reputation, and it spreads like wildfire, right? So in short, branding is building your reputation in the marketplace.
And someone told me once, whether you think you have to brand or not, whether you have a reputation, you either have a reputation or you don't have a reputation, but it's still a reputation that you have.
Right.
And so I think it's been about 5 years ago, we rebranded from a Bella Med Spa to Bella Excellence. And we really thought heavily about that. Like you said, about what do we want to project? And we wanted to project the concept of excellence. The concept that I overtrain my staff probably more than anyone else, that we constantly having meetings, that we're constantly going back out, doing conferences to learn, that we not only want your experience to be amazing, your results to be amazing. It's an entire, from the time you walk in to the time you leave and you're followed, right? That's the concept. And I love that. And now also with Final Wellness, our peers, we have our pillars of aesthetics that we talked about, wellness that we're going to talk about next, nutrition, and mental health and brain performance. Those are all pillars now in our new concept that we need to help everyone else obtain. I think in today's world, those pillars are what's going to help longevity of life.
And you see, I'm not so happy you said that. I find it fantastic that you have the clarity to see what do you want to represent in the marketplace? What pockets, what buckets you're trying to fill in the marketplace? And when people hear or see Bella, they equate, that they relate, that in having that clarity is one of the hardest things that people and entrepreneurs have, because they think that all they need to do is put money on ads and ads and ads and let's bring people through the door, without first taking a step back and just trying to see, okay, what do we want to mean to people? Do we want them to feel about us? Because if you're able to create the right brand by having that clarity and taking the steps, the needle moving steps that take you there, it brings a reputation that you don't even need to market.
No, I love that. We've really never marketed, and I think it's because I think never really thought about it as a branding. I look at it as I wanted to my patients to have the best experience. So when they refer someone to me, that meant so much more to me than paying, for an ad.
Right.
Like I needed that kind of course, but I love that. And you're right. It comes from the branding and it comes from what your concept.
And it works amazingly. I had a client last year. We spent $0 in ads and we increased from 3 million to 17 million. Amazing. Just with branding. I mean, it's quantum leaps. You're definitely in the right place doing the right things. And I'm so excited for you.
No, and I love that you're in this field. I had some help. Obviously, my significant other owns a branding company, and it took me a while to understand. And he said the same thing, right? You know that your client has to be ready because we're stubborn. And I'm like, what do you mean I have to rebrand? What do you mean I have to, what do you mean you're not going to market? Like, I don't market. Can you try that? And I had to really learn. And now I really appreciate your field so much. It really is, what do we want to put out there? What do we want to be perceived as? That's a hard concept. And I think as new companies, we got our CNs, but you probably started new companies that didn't know that. How do you help them out? Are you doing mostly smaller companies that need to understand their goals, or larger companies that already have an idea?
I typically work with 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs that are mostly the coaching space they have either facilities such as this one, they're doctors, lawyers, and they have their own practices and they're looking to just really get to the next level, either 8, 9 figures, either build franchisees or anything like that, like tap into other markets and things like that. So it has to be, for me, when I started back in 2016, 15, 16, I was working with the new entrepreneur, helping entrepreneurs leaving their 9 to 5 and having their side hustle become their full-time thing, because I was so back to the helping people. I wanted to help drives that needed the most. But as I gained my own clarity, I understood where I served best. And I served best an entrepreneur in that bracket. And so one of the things it doesn't matter where they are. I've noticed they all have the same little bit of issues, is understanding that what is branding and why do I really need it? I'm already making money. Why do I have to do anything different that potentially requires or feels like work? But in order to tap the marketplace and become a notoriety in your industry, you have to do the steps. There's no way to trick the system. Now, the beautiful thing is that we have 100% access and power to be able to build this brand, to be able to build this reputation. Before, we were at the mercy of media or traditional media and hope that we would get picked, that we would get slowly as time changed, there were some pain to play type of situations. But today, more than ever, we have full access to create the brand, the reputation, the impact that we want in the marketplace, if we just give it a priority. It should be your main priority. Besides doing your thing, the thing that only you can do, it should be like the biggest part of your business.
I love that. Now, you do have an interesting background prior to that. And we talk about, having to, one, aesthetically be pleasing, wellness, nutrition, working out. You were working out a lot. Tell me a little bit about what you were up to and how did it impact your health and how did you get better from that?
Right. So as I retired in, I believe it was 2011 from dancing, a few years later, I felt a little bit like, oh my God, I was active all my life and now I'm doing nothing. And I fell into just leaning into fitness. Fitness was the thing that replaced dance for me. And so it became part of my day-to-day life, but nothing really, just an activity that I would do. Eventually, I became certified in multiple fitness practices and things like that. And an opportunity came to open my own fitness studio, and it was just incredible. I was both extremely afraid and super excited at the same time because I had no business knowledge. I do nothing. I was like, oh my God, you know, you like, they give you the key and you open up your place and you look at your location and you're like, now what? When all the excitement goes down. And from there, that, without me even knowing, began my lean into becoming a coach, the coach that I am today, even though I was in the fitness industry. So I focus on learning how to do business, marketing, branding, all of that. And my goal was to make the place addictive. I knew I was competing with the biggest gyms, the biggest boutique gyms that were around. And I'm like, how am I going to make this place fruitful? And I was very, very successful at making it the second home of a lot of people. It became really, really fruitful. Unfortunately, I fell off the love for servicing the fitness industry just because it's very demanding. A lot of people want the magic pill. They want the diet that they're going to look amazing in 2 weeks, and it's work. It's just work. But I'm very, very grateful. I learned so much about nutrition. I learned so much about teaching people the difference between reading a label and a food. Like, what was the difference between food? I wanted everybody to just, if you're going to put something in your mouth, do you know what this is? Do you know how it's going to affect you? So it was beautiful. It was great. Till this day, there are people posting on social media. There's never going to be another place like Linked, and they post old videos and make up what you'll get. It does, you know. And it was the hardest decision of my life. When I told the crew, they became family. Every single member became like a family. But I found a passion in coaching, and it was time to pivot. But it was an amazing experience.
And that's okay, right? There should be no guilt. You did your part and you made a big impact, and now you're making a different impact. And look, we have the same struggle with weight loss, right? We actually do have almost considered a magic pill right now, right? The GLP-1s are a magic injection shot that I think have changed the industry for weight loss at this past 2 years, probably now. But even with saying that, there's so much education you have to do for your patient, right? You can't be on a GLP-1 and just because it takes away your appetite and helps with your insulin and it actually has now some cardioprotective abilities, you still need to walk the walk. You still need to learn how to eat well. You need to exercise. But I think what it does, it takes away a lot of the urges and a lot of the metabolic issues that they're having to kind of help them start. But long term, just like you're owning a practice at a gym, it's consistency. Right? People don't understand that. They want a one and done.
One and done, exactly. They need to understand that it's a lifestyle change. It's falling in love with a new way of living that is very different, because what got you here won't get you there. And probably what got them here was poor eating habits, sedentary lifestyle, and unfortunately, that is just going to go a little bit more in decline. I used to have clients that would come, families, mom, dad, and teenagers, and they would want me to make a plan for them, it's like for the kid, and can you please help them? And I would have to, politely have the kids step out and just have a conversation and just let them know they're going to do what you do, right? Like, with all due respect, I want to help them, and I'm used to it because I'm like, oh my God, pre-diabetic and all of that. They're only 12, and like, you guys need to start with you. And you're not going to do your child any service if you end up in the hospital, in the ER, and now who's going to take care of it? Definitely changing the habits and starting with you, you will see how much they will follow and how much they're going to copy mommy and daddy. And now it's going to be a way of life at home. Because if not, you're just not, it'll be momentary. Probably they goes 20, 30 pounds and then right back.
Division. We talk about the peaks and valleys, right? They go up, they go down, they go up, then they down. I think most people who have tried to lose weight struggle with that, struggle with the inconsistency. I'm hoping in time, as we start to eat a little bit better, understand nutrition, and use these medications as our guide and help, I think it will be dramatically different than only as crutch.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I feel that a lot of people are becoming a little bit more aware. I know, I'm sure you've seen this in your practice here, where a lot of people either they go through their surgeries or shots and then some time passes and they're right back where they started. So I feel that enough stories of that are in the marketplace where everybody's just seeing this, okay, wait a minute, there's no easy solution. I really need to take care of myself. But I am super excited about other health and practices that are coming to the marketplace to help people just get a quick start. And if they see it that way and they're ready to make a lifestyle change, I think there's no reason for us not to have a country with a low body fat percentage. And just like back in the day, remember those commercials with that 70s and like everybody was like, ain't got any more shave.
We have the most obesity, the most diabetes, we have the most autoimmune disease right now. But I think it's the way we think about it, right? Like you said, I have patients come in all the time and say, I need to lose this 30 pounds. I'm giving you 3 months, right? And so they lose the 30 pounds. And I tell them, I go, don't bother being my patient if you think in 3 months you're never going to see me again. Because then what'll happen is another year, you're going to come back and see me, and now you have to lose 40 pounds. Would you rather not see me once a month and keep that weight off than yo-yo back and forth? And we have to teach them. We have to say no. I tell them, don't bother seeing me as a provider if you're not going to take my advice as a medical provider.
Right. And it's a little bit our responsibility to have a conversation with them, even though it could potentially feel a little bit there are many providers out there that they're just like willing to take the money. Okay, whatever you want to do. And it's so sad because, technically they could be a contributor of changing somebody's life, changing their mind and educating. I think is a lack of education more than anything else. We live in this microwave society where things can get done super quick overnight and it's a one and done, but that's not how.
But if they would fail, I fail. Right. No, it's a commitment that we both make with each other. I love that.
And I remember I used to have just quick joke. I used to have clients that would come and tell me, okay, I want to keep my thighs, but I want to lose the belly and I want to lose the arms. I'm like, the body doesn't have buttons where I could say more of this, less of that. Like,
now, if we could do that, we need.
No, that's
okay. I mean, I wish I could always say yes, a little here, a little there, and not so much there.
Right.
That we would do really, really well. Listen, we might have to tell a conversation.
Oh, I love that.
So, I'm going to ask you our important question. Because this really, to me, impacts. Beauty means so many different things, and I think we all get caught up in what people perceive beauty to me. And I'd love to hear from my guests what it means to them, because it really is, I think, very impactful to our audience. So, what does beauty mean to you?
So that is the question. Beauty to me, I feel, is the impact that we have in others. And if beauty is the extreme desire to want to become the very best version of yourself so that your overflow can impact as many people as possible. I think that if we all did that, could you imagine the type of world we would live in? That would be beautiful. There would be a Bella world. Totally Bella. And then, that's to me, that is beauty, is that all personal responsibility of saying, I will become the very best version of ourselves for myself, but also for the pride of being an amazing impact everywhere I go.
I love that. And so, we always talk about our goals every year. And I think that people need to stop saying what our new goals are and just make this as part of their life, right? And so being beautiful, understanding themselves, being more impactful, I think that's going to make our world so much nicer. Thank you so much for coming on. I've truly enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise, it was a pleasure. Thank you so, so much.
You're an amazing woman. I wish you all the success.
Likewise, thank you so much. I know you're going to impact this whole community and hopefully the whole United States and North America.
You're right here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was so much fun.